Hello everybody, this is HG Shaves here. I'm back with another video. Today going to be talking about some products. I think I've reviewed all of them already on this channel before. Let's start with the soap. This is, where does it say? Southern Witchcrafts Gray Phetiver. This is a take on Tom Ford Gray Phetiver, and I believe it was our little chat group that this was a group buy for. We encouraged Stephen of Dogwood Handcrafts that he should call it Gray Phetiver, tribute both to the fragrance that this is a dupe of and also to Stephen. So every time I pull out the soap to use it, I think we bought this at the beginning of this year, the end of last year. I'm really taken away by the label design, which is done by Not a Robot is his handle. I believe it's Blade and Lather Photography. I'm going to try and remember to put a link to his work down below. Because this is like, kind of a one-off label. This is not Southern Witchcraft's usual label work. It's not the designer's usual work. It was just, a really unique label, and I think it's really stunning. So if you're watching, man, killer job on this label. So let's talk about the soap scent briefly here. So as I said, it's a dupe of Tom Ford Gray Phetiver, which I've had a decant of that fragrance before in the past, and to me, it's more gray than vetiver. I've said that before in this channel. It was a very kind of bright, citrusy, aromatic kind of fragrance. I mean, very pleasant, but the vetiver was kind of way in the background for me, and it was not what I was hoping for. If it were named like citrus aroma or something, then maybe that would be more accurate. But the good news about this dupe is that somehow, maybe because it's in the soap or the particular dupe oil, it's actually a lot more vetiver in this to me, and it's more the opposite of the fragrance, where the vetiver is in front and the citrus is way in the back, and it stays pretty consistent in the matching toner, Aftershave toner that I have, and so this is a really great scent for me. It's kind of a nutty vetiver, kind of a woodsy vetiver. It's not too dank, but there is a little, there are some nice contrasts in the scents that are present in this. So Gray Phetiver, that will be the soap. For the razor today, wanted to go back to an old mild favorite, continuing in the mild theme from that Damaskene last week. This is the old Merkur 34C HD, which of course we have to mention the HD part every time we use this razor on this channel. So, one of the most ubiquitous razors in, modern wet shaving, and it works really well for me. Every time I've used this razor, this is now maybe my third week this year using this razor. I'm always really impressed with just how comfortable and easy it is for me. It's really perfect for me if I just have a day's growth, which is what I usually have. This is the perfect kind of razor for me to use. Another thing I've been testing out this week is the mild razor sharp blade theory, which is to say that I've been using a feather blade in there all week, which I normally do not use feathers. Usually I use the Gillette branded blades, whether it's brands that are owned by Gillette and Procter & Gamble, like Paul Silver, the 7 O'Clocks, Perma-Sharp, things like that. But I've definitely done the opposite in the past, where I take an aggressive razor and I try to put a mild blade in it to kind of tame the razor. And then with a razor like this, that can sometimes be frustratingly mild for people, you can also put a sharp blade in it and see if that helps increase the efficiency for you. And it's definitely been a great match this week, so that's great. For the brush, again, I have it soaking here in water, is the Zenith B2 Boar, which has really opened up quite nicely for me. And yeah, it's really gotten a lot better this week. So, been happy about that, and I'll talk more about that as I start to work up the soap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load off camera here, and then I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to start the face lather. So be right back. Okay, so this is what about a 30-second load looks like off the tub. The soap's pretty soft, and this Boar brush is good at picking up soap. So that's the one thing that I did change up this week, is that I didn't kind of load it like I hate it as much as I did in the previous weeks, because If you do overload and you like a thin but slick consistency like I do, then you're kind of left adding in a lot of water. And so I also started with a wetter brush this week as well. And at the moment I've got kind of some water flying out the sides of the brush, which is okay. I intentionally am leaving a little bit more water in there, just so again, it gets me to the, desired result much quicker. The brush has continued to soften up, certainly. And also I was really noticing the bloom on it after it had dried out after one day this week. This is a 26 millimeter knot, and it easily looks like a, 28 or even a 30 millimeter knot when it's all the way, dried and opened up. Which, again, doesn't necessarily give you a better lather or anything, but it does at least kind of show me that the brush is changing, and then I'm not, putting in a couple weeks of worth of uses on this thing and it's not changing at all, because it definitely is. So that's great. I decided to stick with the Southern Witchcrafts base this week because I just wanted to be consistent about that. To not only assess the break-in of the brush, but also just how the lathers are being generated. Gonna add a little bit more water. Just a gentle painting motion here. Great, let's start with this. Okay, and I'm sure as you notice, I forgot to do over the mustache there when I cut out. I've been having that problem all week. I got rid of this mustache on the first, and I still am thinking that I'm not shaving that area. Here we go with the 34C HD and the feather. So this is the 5th use on the feather, and some people really notice a difference in the first few uses with the feather. The most common opinion I've heard is that it's like too sharp for the first use with it, and then like uses 2, 3, maybe 4 are ideal, and then after that they feel like the sharpness really kind of wears away. I think there's a lot of kind of, mystique around this blade, because it is supposed to be the sharpest. So I'm inclined to believe that a lot of it is just like marketing and superstition, kind of. In terms of the shaving angle, I've definitely been holding the handle too far out sometimes. because I'm not actually cutting, but instead I'm running the top cap here over the shapeable area. See, like right there, I had to adjust a couple times to really find it. So in that way, I guess it is kind of difficult to find the angle with this razor. It is sort of frustratingly mild, but to me, once you find it, I don't know, it's not too mild once you find the right angle, if that makes sense. Okay, nice pass. Gonna rinse and come back for pass number two. Pass number two. I'm gonna keep it short today, so I'm gonna do this. This is my last pass across and against. Okay, good. Second pass there. Again, you have to really mind the razor because sometimes it's just not gonna cut as effectively for you. That's a similar thing I said last week, I think, with the Damaskene. It just requires a little bit more finesse in kind of a different way than using an aggressive razor would. So that's interesting. I'm gonna do my final rinse and then bring it back and talk to you over post-shave. All right, so for post-shave today, we're gonna use the matching toner of gray Phetiver. I really like these little plastic bottles. I don't think they look cheap. I think they look classy, and they're the first one that I've noticed that's like that. So with a toner, because it doesn't have alcohol, you really don't need much. So for me, I do 2 douses, like 1, 2. That's really all you need, because if you use more, it just doesn't, it doesn't absorb, and then you just kind of waste product. To me, it's like similar to overloading, bloating like you hate it, and then having to work in a bunch of water to get it where you want it. I mean, it still works, but it just feels like a waste. So the scent on this, it's really very similar to the soap. I'd say it's less different than the usual, quote unquote, matching soap and splash. Usually I can detect a lot more top notes in splashes compared to the soap. Something about the liquid form just makes it, transmit easier or something. But yeah, these are really very similar. It's a very nice soap set, and yeah, I'm very happy to have it. And it's again a better take on the fragrance for me. Might be different for you. That's my take. So we use that soap and toner. We use the Merkur 34C HD. Great starter razor in the sense that I guess you would really have to learn your technique to use this fresh out of the gate, because you just have to really mind your angle or it's not going to work that effectively for you. I started with the 23C, which is like almost the same head, and then it has a long handle. And that one, again, for all intents and purposes, the head is the same, but it's it was difficult for me to get like a really close shave with that, and I wish I would have stuck with it longer, really worked on my technique before I jumped into doing other razors. So, you know, pluses and minuses of using razors like that. And then finally, the Zenith B2 really got nice to use, and yeah, it's definitely been much better the past 2 weeks than the weeks prior to that. So thankful that I've stuck with it, things like that. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you all for watching. I'm not quite sure what's on the menu for next week, but of course we'll know when we get there. And I am looking forward to doing some sort of 2020 end of the year recap thing. So maybe I should start playing that. The end of the year is soon. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This has been HG Shaves, and until next time, goodbye.